I think the area of elder abuse is really important because if you look at global demographics, you know, they all report a rise, and particularly in, say, developing countries and underdeveloped countries, where the proportion of older people is rising greatly. I think that a global approach is best because you learn from other countries, and in particular things like debating the merits of mandatory reporting of elder abuse. We don't have mandatory reporting of child abuse in Ireland, so elder abuse, you know, tends to be 20 years behind child abuse in various domains. So I think a global connectedness, I think working at zero tolerance of abuse of any person, regardless of age or intellectual ability or anything like that, is fundamental. And I do think that there hasn't been very much research on perpetrators in terms of what programmes have been offered to perpetrators and what follow-up has been offered to them. Within the legal system there's been very poor follow-up of any elder abuse cases, and this could be related to things such as ageism, because even if something does happen there, it's not well reported in the media. It's not seen as, I suppose, as a seller of newspapers like child abuse cases. So there is a lot of sort of cultural, societal issues to be tackled that are almost peripheral to elder abuse but are important in terms of really serving this as a very important aspect of care and minding of a population, I suppose. And you know, you keep having to say to people, if nothing happens to you, if you don't get sick, if you don't die early, you're actually protecting yourself in the future. So if you can get it right as possible now, when you grow old, then you live in an environment that is desirable. I do think a lot of work needs to be done in nursing homes. There has been very little. We did a prevalence study which was published 2 years ago, but there's been very little work in that area, and things like self-neglect in nursing homes hasn't been looked at. Things like, I mean, a lot of work by Carl and by Lynn MacDonald on resident-to-resident aggression. But I was amazed to know, speaking to colleagues here in Toronto, that actually aggression serves as a mandatory reporting to the police, whereas in Ireland it wouldn't be seen as. People are conditioned in nursing homes just to deal with it. They don't see it on the same footing as if it was happening out in the community, or if it was happening in, say, a public space. If somebody hit somebody in a public space, there's a huge response. But if somebody hits somebody in a nursing home, it's, you know, just recorded, probably in the nursing notes. There isn't even an incident reported on it. So it's about looking at how we can best manage that. Also, I think for people with dementia, the promotion of person-centred care frameworks are fundamental. If you have a care facility that is truly person-centred, you won't have elder abuse. And I would particularly favour Brenda McCormick and Tanya McCann person-centred framework, because it goes from the organisational level down to person-centred outcomes. So it looks at each of these levels and looks at what are the prerequisites for each of these levels. And if you can do that, you won't have elder abuse. And the University of Bradford in the UK has done person-centred care mapping for dementia patients. And you can actually look at how you reduce episodes of behavioural and psychological symptoms, classic for dementia patients, because you do a mapping exercise, and you can actually see improvements in older person carers. So why isn't this being translated into practice? The research is there. So all of that practical application is important, changing culture is important, and looking at intervention techniques. And I suppose also one thing that struck me was a case from, I think, 2007 in the UK. Lord Justice Munby indicated that a case of elder abuse was presented to him in court where two brothers were abusing their mother in the community. The NHS followed all of the particulars. They did everything by the book. And this woman was admitted to a nursing home where she died very quickly because she was so unhappy. And he indicated that for elder abuse cases, the element of happiness of the older person must be considered. And sometimes we lose that because we're so focused on ticking all the boxes that we've done everything right, that the case conferences have done, that the outcomes are there, that the voice of the older person gets lost and all of that. And that's really, really important.